Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm finally doing a review on the brand new Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous foundation. Now you're probably wondering, finally, what does she mean? It's been out for ages. If you've been a follower of mine for a while, you would have come along with me when I went to Canada. I went to every single Sephora, about 5 Sephoras. I've been all over London, every single website in the UK that sells Anastasia Beverly Hills, even her US website, did not have my shade, which is 350C. Now, the reason being, for some strange reason, there were 2 or 3 shades which did not release when all the other shades released. I don't know, maybe there was an issues with stock or something along those lines, but for whatever reason, I was never able to get a hold of mine. Now, the reason why I knew this was my shade as well was because I follow Norvina, who is the president of Anastasia Beverly Hills and Anastasia's daughter as well. I follow her on Twitter, and somebody mentioned to her, in MAC's foundation range, they are the shade NC40, so what would match them in the Luminous foundation? And she said 350C, which is cool. However, the description is medium skin with a golden undertone, which is exactly what I am. Now, I even tried the shade Up, which is 355N. It describes medium skin with a neutral golden undertone, because sometimes I can get away with it. It was too dark for me. And I tried the shade Up from 350C as well, which is 345C and described as medium skin with a cool golden peach undertone, and it was way too light for me. So I kind of in my head thought, this is more than likely the shade for me. Finally, everywhere has now launched theirs. I have been using this for a few weeks now, and I feel that I'm finally ready to give my honest review on this product. So first off, it comes in just a cardboard packaging with this very garish and un-Anastasia Beverly Hills branding type of typeface with foundation on it. And then it just says on the side that it's vegan, gluten-free, alcohol-free, clinically tested, dermatologist tested, ophthalmologist tested, non-comedogenic, which means that it doesn't clog your pores, suitable for sensitive skin, long wearing, and no flashback. Now, considering that I've got sensitive skin, I've got rosacea on the side of my nose and on my chin, which is slowly getting better. The fact that it has no alcohol in it is great for me, because a lot of products that I use which have got alcohol burn my face, and I've got sensitive skin at the moment as well. So all of these things are a plus in my books. Now, in terms of the bottle itself, it is made out of glass. It's very heavy duty, heavy wearing, which is not surprising because this is a whopping £43. Very expensive, and it comes with a pump on the top, and it's a very good quality pump. You can press it as hard or as softly as you want, depending on how much product you want to dispense. It doesn't squirt out, making a big mess. It is reflective of the price. I'm trying to think really hard, but I can't remember the last time I spent £43 on a foundation. It is incredibly expensive. Now, let me just read to you what their claims are off of the website before I let you know what my thoughts are. It says the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation is a water-resistant liquid foundation that creates a luminous, natural finish. The radiant formula delivers long-wearing, medium coverage, yet still feels weightless and looks ultra fresh. This is the coverage you have been waiting for. Luminous foundation looks so great on its own. There's no need to set with a powder. Available in 50 completely natural shades, this lightweight foundation blurs any imperfections, including discoloration and unevenness, without caking or masking the skin's natural radiance. With a seamless application, this easy to blend face makeup leaves the skin with a perfected looking complexion that is free from flashback or oxidization. Wow. That's a lot of claims for this. Now, this is not their first foundation they've ever released. They also released a stick foundation way back when, but I don't think it came in 50 shades. I think every single brand out there now is releasing new foundations which come between 40 to 50 shades, because at the end of the day, why aren't you? And that foundation was good, but I think that they are kind of reformulating that whole side of it, and I think that they'll probably be coming out with a concealer soon after to replace their last concealer, which was absolutely terrible. Now, it says that it's a water-resistant liquid foundation. I would say that when I've had rain splattering on my face, I haven't found that it's moved, but in terms of any more like swimming and stuff like that, I can't even swim, so you go, don't know. A luminous natural finish is definitely what it gives to the skin. Now, bear in mind, it's called Luminous Foundation, and it's all in the name. This is not something which is for oily skins whatsoever. Now, when you first apply it, it will look luminous and natural, but as the hours go on in the day, your natural oils will break out through the foundation and you will start to get shiny very, very quickly. This, in my opinion, is definitely something which is geared more towards people with dry to normal skin. I have got normal to combination skin, so I tend to get oily in my T-zone. Says it delivers a long wearing medium coverage, yet still feels weightless and looks ultra fresh. I would not say it's medium coverage at all. I'd call it full coverage. I'm quite surprised that they've actually said that it's medium coverage. I mean, you can make it medium coverage obviously by using a beauty blender to shear it out, or using a very slight amount of product. But if you're like me and you want full coverage, you're going to wear full coverage. I don't understand why people who buy full coverage foundations to shear them out. Why don't you just buy medium coverage foundation? Because when I have bought a certain product, I want to be able to use it to its full capabilities, not kind of 50% of it. Feels weightless and looks ultra fresh, definitely. It says there's no need to set with powder. This definitely needs to be set with powder. I'm not even sure why they have said that. Like I've already said, if you've got the tendency to get oily quite sooner, why would you not set it with a powder? It definitely needs to be set. Otherwise, it can have that slight tacky feel to the skin, and it will also affect the way that powders and other things apply on your face afterwards. If you apply a powder to set it, they will glide on. If you don't, they'll be more patchy. It definitely blurs imperfections like they've said, including discoloration and unevenness completely. It's got a very nice texture to the skin. It does not really cling onto any dryness. Like I said, I've got rosacea on the side of my nose. It's starting to get better, but I've still got a bit of dry skin. It doesn't accentuate it too much. It definitely blurs out my pores. I've got textured skin. I've got redness as well from blemishes, spots I've had recently. There's one right there. And it covers everything beautifully, and it makes my skin look fresh and even. Easy to blend, definitely. It's got a thick-ish sort of texture. It's not too thick, but it's not too runny. So it blends really nicely into the skin very evenly, and it's not patchy at all. Flashback free with, now the thing is, if you apply powder to your skin, there is a chance there will be a little bit of flashback, but personally, I have to say that I haven't found that that's happened to me. And I also don't find that it oxidizes. If I did, this would be way too dark for me. Now, when I bought this, I was still kind of getting rid of my summer tan. You will notice that it is maybe a tiny bit dark for me, but then the shade before this is just too light for me. So I would definitely call this my perfect shade to wear. I can just about get away with, once I put my powder on, that it slightly lightens it, but if it oxidized, it would definitely be way too dark for me. I've also written in my own notes that their color range is incredibly large, but their comparison charts are very inconsistent. While I was in Canada, Norvina released a color matching chart, so her foundation in relation to all other shades from other brands, to try and help you to match. It was completely off. What she'd written for NC40 did not match up to what she'd said for 350C, which I found really weird. I think that, I don't know who put that chart together, but if she said one thing and her chart said something else, yet she was actually right and the chart was wrong, don't make any sense to me. I think a lot of brands need to stop doing that. I think that the only thing that they should ever compare their shades to are their own foundations, if they have released previous foundations within their own brand. When you try to start comparing with other brands, that's when mistakes happen. I've also written that by hour 10 I looked very luminous, aka shiny, 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 shiny. It started to move, it started to separate on my face. It definitely gives an amazing coverage to the skin. My face looks absolutely flawless, which you will see when I do the demo. So I'm gonna give this one probably a 8 out of 10. I don't think it's an awful foundation. It's definitely not one that I will repurchase in the future. Number one, it's £43. Too much money. Number two, it's definitely not for all skin types. Number three, I get very, very shiny for a £43 foundation. I don't care what you say, it should not be making me look shiny. It should at least get up to hour 12 before I see any kind of separation or movement on my face. And as a result of that, it transfers a lot because it is that shiny. Now, I've used mattifying primers. I've also used the technique where I put loose setting powder on my face over my primer, put this on my face and mix it with setting spray. Most foundations I tend to stay matte for most of the day. It is only when doing that I've managed to get this to last for over 12 hours. But in regards to this video and this review on using this on its own, it does not get that far unless it's had a lot of help. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to prime my face. I'm using the NYX Cosmetics Honey Dew Me Up Primer, and the brush that I'm going to be using is my trusted Morphe M439 Deluxe Buffer Brush. Any brush will do, or a beauty blender for sheerer coverage. I prefer to use this as it's very dense, and when you're working with fairly full coverage foundations, a very dense brush is good, because that way you get a lot more even coverage and you're able to buff it into your skin without it sitting there and looking cakey. And then I'm going to set it. My Nabla powder, it fell on the floor and the little bits on the end fell out, so I've finally been able to break out my new Charlotte Tilbury powder, which is the Airbrush Flawless Finish, and my shade is in medium 2, and that's what I'm going to be using to set this foundation. Okay, so I'm just going to let this settle on my skin, because this primer is very runny and very liquidy. So it's a bit tacky at the moment. Let it dry down so that it's semi-tacky before I apply this to my face. I'm going to use probably about 2 to 3 pumps of this, not full pumps. I generally tend to do half pumps and dot it all over my face before I blend it in. Voila, there we go. That is one even layer. It was definitely not a heavy amount that I've used. And look at my skin, flawless. You can see a slight amount of luminosity because, well, it is a luminous foundation, but look how easily that blends. It just glides over the face and everything is beautifully covered. So that's how it would look with one layer of coverage. Now tell me that that is not more of a medium to full coverage rather than it being medium coverage as it's been described. The redness in my chin has nicely been covered, especially on the side of my nose. But I do have a few problem areas, so what I generally tend to do is add a tiny bit more. So I'm going to do a very light, I barely press the pump, and I can just push it into those areas where I need a bit of extra coverage. And like I've said, because of the way this foundation is, the more product that you apply, the quicker you will get oilier. It's like that with any product. The more you apply, the more the product can break down a lot sooner, which was why sometimes less is more, as they say. Lovely, even, flawless. What do you guys think of the colour as well? How well it suits? It suits nicely, right? It's only maybe a tiny bit dark for me, but nothing that's too obvious or noticeable. And that's it. So now you know how they've said that it doesn't have to be set. My face feels sticky, I've touched it and it's come off on my hands. So explain to me why they are saying that it shouldn't be set. It should be set, and now I just have to fix that bit where I've left a miniature handprint on my face and go wash my hands because I'm wearing a white t-shirt. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and then I will be back to show you what it looks like fully complete, set, how it looks on my face after it's been on for about half an hour or so you can see whether or not on camera, in HD, whether it is oxidized or not. I can tell you it won't, and it will look gorgeous, so I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I am back and the rest of my makeup is complete. On my lips I'm wearing ABH's Rosewood normal lipstick with some random gloss on top. But as you can see, it all looks lovely and set. The colour looks beautiful. It's actually perfect for me. And like I said, I set it with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder in the shade number 2 medium. It looks great. I don't look matte. I look like I've got like a hint of luminosity to the skin, which is exactly how the foundation is supposed to be. It's just that unfortunately over a certain period of time it does start to separate and get shiny on me. However, it's still a good foundation for what it's supposed to be. Personally, I prefer more mattifying foundations, and even if I do have like a dewy sort of foundation like the Stila Aqua Glow, that one doesn't go shiny on me. Stila is one of the few brands that have been able to do a dewy, luminous kind of foundation without it breaking up and becoming really shiny on your face after a certain amount of time. However, for those of you that were interested in how this foundation performs, how it wears, how it looks, I hope you found this review useful. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.